The Legend of the Candy Cane. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by tall trees and colorful flowers, there was a tiny candy shop. The shop was full of sweets and treats that made children smile. One day, a kind man named Mr. James moved into the village. He had a special talent for making candies, and he decided to open his own candy shop. Mr. James worked very hard to set up his shop. He painted the walls bright yellow and put up shelves to display all the delicious candies he planned to make. When the shop was ready, he hung a sign on the door that said, "Sweet Treats by Mr. James." The villagers were curious about the new candy shop and looked forward to seeing what special treats Mr. James would create. One chilly morning, just before Christmas, Mr. James was busy making a new kind of candy. He wanted to create something special, something that would bring joy and happiness to everyone in the village. He thought and thought until he had a wonderful idea. He would make a candy shaped like a shepherd's staff, the kind of staff shepherds use to guide and protect their sheep. Mr. James mixed sugar, water, and peppermint in a big pot. He stirred and stirred until the mixture became thick and sweet. Then he poured it out and shaped it into a long, straight stick. But he didn't stop there. He carefully bent one end of the stick to make it look like a shepherd's staff. When the candy was ready, it was shiny and red and white, just like a peppermint. Mr. James smiled as he looked at his creation. He decided to call it a candy cane. He placed the candy canes on the shelves of his shop, hoping that the children in the village would love them. The next day, the village children saw the candy canes in the shop window. Their eyes grew wide with excitement, and they rushed inside to see the new treat. Mr. James greeted them with a warm smile and handed each child a candy cane. "Wow, what is this?" asked little Emily, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "This is a candy cane," said Mr. James. "It's a special candy that I made just for you. It's shaped like a shepherd's staff." "A shepherd's staff?" asked Tommy, another child. "What's that?" Mr. James explained. "A long time ago, shepherds used staffs to guide their sheep and keep them safe. This candy cane reminds us of those shepherds. And do you see the red and white stripes? The white stripe stands for the goodness and purity, and the red stripe reminds us of love and sacrifice." The children listened carefully and nodded. They loved the sweet taste of the candy cane and the special story behind it. Every day, more and more children came to Mr. James's shop to buy candy canes. The village was filled with laughter and joy as children shared the candy canes with their friends and family. As Christmas approached, the village was decorated with twinkling lights and colorful ornaments. The candy canes became a special part of the Christmas celebration. Families hung them on their Christmas trees and gave them as gifts to their loved ones. The candy canes were not just a treat, but also a symbol of the joy and love of the season. One snowy evening, as Mr. James was closing his shop, he saw a little girl standing outside, shivering in the cold. She looked sad and lonely. Mr. James opened the door and invited her inside. "Hello, my dear. What's your name?" he asked gently. "My name is Lily," the girl replied softly. "I saw the candy canes in your window, but I don't have any money to buy one." Mr. James' heart filled with kindness. He took a candy cane from the shelf and handed it to Lily. "This is for you, Lily. You don't need to pay for it." "Merry Christmas." Lily's face lit up with a big smile. "Thank you, Mr. James. This is the best Christmas ever." Mr. James felt warm and happy inside. He knew that the true magic of Christmas was in giving and sharing with others. That night, Lily took the candy cane home and hung it on a small branch she had found. It was her own little Christmas tree, and the candy cane made it perfect. The next morning, Lily's neighbors saw her tiny tree with the candy cane and were touched by her joy. They decided to help her and her family. They brought food, warm clothes, and more decorations for her little tree. Lily's home was soon filled with love and laughter, and she felt so grateful for the kindness of her neighbors. The village celebrated Christmas with a special spirit that year. Everyone remembered the story of the candy cane and the importance of kindness, love, and sharing. Mr. James's candy canes had brought the whole village together in a wonderful way. One day, after Christmas, Mr. James decided to make even more candy canes. He wanted to spread the joy to other villages as well. He packed a big basket full of candy canes and traveled to the nearby towns. Everywhere he went, Children and adults alike were delighted by the sweet treat and its beautiful story. In one of the villages, Mr. James met a little boy named Oliver. Oliver loved the candy cane and listened carefully to the story about the shepherd's staff and the meaning of the red and white stripes. Oliver was so inspired by the story that he decided to share it with his friends and family. "Did you know that the candy cane is shaped like a shepherd's staff?" Oliver asked his friends. "And the white stripe stands for goodness, while the red stripe is for love and sacrifice." Oliver's friends were amazed by the story. They told their parents, and soon, the entire village was talking about the candy cane and its special meaning. The village decided to start a new tradition. Every Christmas, they would gather together to make their own candy canes and share them with everyone. Mr. James was very happy to see how the story of the candy cane had spread. He continued to visit other villages, sharing his candies and the wonderful tale behind them. Each village he visited adopted the tradition of making and sharing candy canes during Christmas. Back in Mr. James' home village, the children eagerly awaited his return. When he finally came back, they greeted him with big smiles and warm hugs. Mr. James's shop was once again filled with laughter and joy as he shared stories of his travels and the new friends he had made. Mr. James realized that the candy cane had become much more than just a sweet treat. It had brought people together, inspired kindness, and created a sense of community. He knew that this was the true spirit of Christmas, and he was grateful to be a part of it. As the years went by, the legend of the candy cane continued to grow. Families passed down the story from generation to generation, teaching their children the importance of love, kindness, and sharing. The candy cane remained a cherished symbol of Christmas, reminding everyone of the joy and magic of the holiday season. And so, every year, when Christmas came around, the villagers celebrated with candy canes and the beautiful story that Mr. James had shared with them. The candy cane had become a symbol of hope, love, and the true meaning of Christmas. The moral of the story: we learned that the candy cane is not just a sweet treat, but also a reminder of the importance of kindness, love, and sharing with others. Just like Mr. James shared his candy canes with the children, and Lily, we should always be kind and generous to those around us. The true magic of Christmas comes from giving, helping others, and spreading joy and happiness.